For this project, I watched the movie The Martian. We'll go over a quick, brief overview of the plot of the movie. During a manned mission to Mars, astronaut Mark Watney was left stranded alone on Mars after a massive storm. He used his intellect and wit to survive until NASA could send a rescue mission to save him. The protagonist is Mark Watney, and the movie doesn't really have a strict antagonist. It's more of like him trying to survive against the environment of Mars. So in a way, you could say Mars is the antagonist. So the main conflict of the film is since Mark is trapped on Mars, he has to struggle to survive with the limited amount of food he has and with the dangerous and unforgiving atmosphere and terrain of Mars. With uh, and just trying to survive. The way that is resolved is NASA ends up, or not NASA, but uh, the crew of the Hermes changes course against NASA's permission, and they head back to Mars using a slingshot maneuver by using the Earth's um, gravitational pull to and atmosphere to pull it back around the Earth and slingshot it back towards Mars. And they use a rocket that was already there for the next manned mission in a couple years that they sent in advance. And Mark used that to fly up there, and the crew of the Hermes did a spacewalk and saved him. Uh, there are two literary elements, which were one could be foreshadowing, because they're in a point during the movie. Um, as long as nothing's wrong, they'll have enough time to send Mark supplies, so he'll have enough food to survive. But then immediately after, the hab explodes, leaving Mark unable to grow food and essentially cutting off what was supposed to keep him alive until NASA was able to send more resources and supplies. Another one is another instance of foreshadowing when the director of at NASA orders the inspection of the rocket to be skipped to lessen the time, and the rocket ends up exploding after launch, which essentially wasted all the time and effort they put into speeding up the construction and planning to help Mark. Some music and lighting aspects, and camera shots and angles, is throughout the movie. It's always portrayed as in Mark's talking to a camera that he has with him, like a camcorder that are in all the rovers in the hab, and that really puts in essence Mark isn't just talking to some disembodied camera that's somewhere in the hab, but actually has a reason to be talking to himself the entire time and explaining what he's doing. And I just think that's really cool. Some scientific advances that have taken place, or the rocket used to get there. Rockets have been around since the the 60s, I think, and just with enough fuel and resources and time, it's possible to get to Mars like that. The Hermes. The Hermes is just a more advanced space station, and we already have the International Space Station up in space, so that's already created. And the rover Mark actually found and used to help communicate with NASA for the first time from Mars. That we've already sent rovers to Mars, quite a bit of them. Some fake scientific advances were the manned Mars rover. We don't have the technology to create a manned rover, for people to actually be able to drive in on Mars. We don't have the technology to be able to do that. Another one is the HAB. We don't have the technology to create a space that can support life on such a desolate an extreme environment like Mars for them to survive multiple weeks. Another one was the artificial gravity they use in the Hermes. Um, we don't even have that on the International Space Station, and that's that's really advanced technology to be able to do. That's just like overcasted in the movie. It's not even talked about. Also, the suits. We have space suits, but they are very, very heavy, and they would not be usable in the way that it's used in the movie. They would not be able to move around at all. One of the major lessons of the movie is that one major point of the movie was to like never give up in the face of adversity and challenge. Mark had so many issues and problems to deal with that most people probably would have just given up and accepted death and just not been able to survive for as long as he did. And the movie showed that like under no circumstances you give up and let problems control you and kill you. In order for Mark to survive and get home, he worked his butt off and solved almost every problem he ran into. Albeit he didn't solve every problem, but at least he tried. And because of that, he managed to survive and get home. So, like, if you're in a rough situation, you're struggling to get out of a bad place, or struggling in general, don't give up, push forward, and you'll most likely survive and get out of the situation.